Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Vritika gave a very good insight on the complete philosophy of asset integrity and digitization. What I will do is, so as not to repeat the content, do two things here. One, stitch together, try and stitch together what does asset reliability and integrity and digitization mean for a project organization? Because I believe many of you would be from projects, right? For an operations manufacturing organization, and finally the CTO, CIO organization. So that I will take as one of the themes so that, I kind of connect with what you said and take it forward for the benefit of the crowd. And the second thing I can do is what EIL is for the Indian oil and gas industry as a service provider, L&T Technology Services is for the global oil and gas industries, and we work with ExxonMobil, Shell, Chevron, Covestro, Bayer, providing these services. So I will give you some global examples which you can take home and probably let us together learn from them and bring in productivity and operational efficiency into your world. Fair? Those are the two things I will do. And to start with, how many of you belong to the project organizations? Project engineering, project execution. Okay, I see some hands. Operations, manufacturing. Okay, bigger crowd. Last one, owner-operator versus service providers. Owner-operator would be ONGC, Oil India, and service provider would be me, Vritika, and PwC. Okay, good. So we have a fair participation. Okay, so I will not talk about Larsen & Toubro. You know us. I will talk about technology services, which is part of L&T larger group of companies, and how we are helping clients in the oil and gas industry do what I just said. Now, if we look at the service landscape, it is very important when we deep dive into these two important topics of asset integrity and reliability and digitization. It's important to stitch together the whole landscape. If you see the two boxes, does this work? No. Okay. So if you look here, this box and this box is essentially the project execution, which Ritika spoke about. And this becomes more of strategy, and this becomes the operations, maintenance, management. So this is the whole life cycle. I will talk about two things, as I said, asset management. Now, there are companies across the world who are your peers who have embarked upon this journey around 16 years, 15 years ago. And this whole thing started with the IT ingression in their world. All of you implemented ERP systems, SAP systems, Maximo, small, big, size. And that's when the IT companies came in and started providing services to implement an SAP. Now, how does asset integrity and reliability come into the picture? That's when the functional engineering became an important protocol, and engineers like all of us sitting in this room came in and started doing as-builting of their facilities, picking up drawings from the project completion, handover documentation, and then dumping into the ERP system and making sense out of it. So asset integrity, and I will talk about generation 1, 2, 3, how it is evolving. So that is one topic. Now, digitization came more as a next generation of ingression, wherein there are technologies and how we apply it to the asset reliability and integrity to make it simple. Industry challenges, everybody spoke about the industry challenges, so I shall not. We all know it's about information, operations, compliance, and finance. The business and technology drivers, we all know that in a manufacturing setup, we are day in and day out working towards productivity improvement, towards quality, towards safety, towards regulatory compliance, and last but very important, CapEx and OPEX reduction. Very important. Let's talk about 3 generations of asset information management, as we call it at L&T Technology Services. Asset information management, generation 1. And these are 3 important elements I do wish you take home. I would say that asset information management, the generation 1, as we see today in the industry, especially in Indian industry, is disintegrated. And I say that with a lot of courage in a forum which is full of, industry experts like yourselves. And that is what we saw in the world 5, 10, 15 years ago. Today, we are in silos. It is either engineering information management, as you see for capital projects and handover documentation, or it is at the engineering tools support requirement, or it is materials management, or it is at enterprise asset management. They're all disintegrated. And now the world is moving towards integrating it. There are still, though we all implemented SAP and big ERP systems, but there are still a lot of homegrown tools and techniques. There are a lot of commercially available other elements which are still disintegrated. So let me take you to the world which is next and how companies like ExxonMobil, Shell, and Chevron are doing it. So this is what we call as Gen 2, Generation 2. And here is where we talk about integration. Integration not just from level 1, 2, 3 to 4, which is sensors to PLCs to MES layer and ERP, but also integration with the capital project phase. So here you see the EDM, that is, and please take these 2 words in your mind, EDM to ODM integration, which is engineering data management, which starts with conceptual engineering. When you start a CapEx project or a OPEX project, it's concept engineering, detailed design, procurement, construction, and Vritika spoke about it. So all the way, there is a lot of engineering data flow. Till the drawings are handed over to the facility for bumpless, seamless execution and operations. So this is EDM. And then there is the conventional layer L0 to L4, that is operations data management, ODM. And these 2 are disintegrated. So when you think about your asset integrity and information management, please think of both. There is a lot of data that comes into your plant day in and day out through CapEx and OPEX, project execution and engineering and intervention. And there is a lot of data which is as part of the L0 to L4 layer. So how you have to integrate it? Today it's disintegrated. So there are techniques and ways that companies like Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil have embarked upon, and we are supporting them do that. And that is where the real value will come out from. Now, what is Gen 3? Asset information management Gen 3 is nothing but once the EDM, ODM integration happens, digital ingression. And many of our friends spoke about it and shall speak about the various technologies. This slide is nothing but a crowded slide of a lot of digital technologies that are going on. So, what did we discuss here was that conventional disintegrated asset management to integrated EDM, ODM integration, and finally digital ingression. And I always say it's like digital tadka. Everything you talk about, whether any gadget, any equipment in the plant, it's about digitization. There are a lot of technologies which are helping us day to day. That is, like UBIC-wise, M-Care solution. I'll give you an example. When L&T, we as a part of L&T 3 years ago started talking about digitization. We found that when we went to our chemical and oil and gas clients across the world, we found that while there were companies coming in and bogging them down with so much of digital technology, this, that, and everything, the simplest way to become digital was to digitize your drawings, bring them up to speed in one platform. So one of the largest global programs that is going on in the world by a chemical industry, I'll share the name, Covestro, part of the Bayer Group, is nothing but 80% of their production facilities in US, in Europe, and in China, they are just digitizing, harmonizing, bringing them on one platform, and that will become one of the largest asset integrity reliability digitization program in the world, called OZ 2020. So it's as simple as that. Don't get bogged down by digitization. It is as simple as just, bringing your plant, harmonizing it. So our chairman, Mr. S.N. Subramaniam, he was obviously handling the bigger L&T construction business, and we were the service providers, L&T Infotech and L&T Engineering Services, Technology Services. So he said, well, you will go to the world, sell, and execute digital programs, but where is the reality? Give me some, big examples of how it can be done. And I have a pain area in my world. I have 35,000 mobile assets, construction equipment lying in Middle East and India in multiple of my facilities, and I don't know what to do with them. I don't know whether they are productive, whether they are in the right maintained situation or not. I don't know. So can you help us? So what we did was, today, happy to share, 35,000 assets of L&T construction EPC business have been all, censored, wired, and with a platform called UBIC-WISE, we have connected them. The value to the customer, the end customer is, one, fast mobilization of assets from one side to the other, so productivity improvement. I'll just give you some top five. The other one is that, we take a lot of equipment from the leasing agencies. So payments, KPI-driven payments, all of that is handled by this platform. 3, operator safety, operator efficiency. 4, fuel theft was a big problem. So many more such things got done by asset information in one place through a UBIC-WISE platform. And then finally, digitization. And finally, dashboarding and reporting. So this is one of the big industry examples that I see has been done in the EPC industry globally. That just happened, in the boardrooms of Larsen & Toubro to help L&T Infotech and L&T Technology Services get a real example of asset information and digitization. Now, but then having said that, many of the other technologies are still, I always say that digitization is like, last year it was in PowerPoint presentations. This year, it is in proof of concept mode, and hopefully next year onwards, it will be global rollouts. So everybody is dabbling with it, experimenting, finding out the KPI, and getting there. One more example, M-Care. M-Care is another solution which is for condition-based monitoring of the equipment and remote monitoring that you spoke about, Vartika. So there are a lot of such examples. Let me just end off my presentation, give you an example of how artificial intelligence and asset information are working for the global oil and gas majors. This is a global oil and gas major, ExxonMobil. And they have trillions of terabytes of data lying for their oil fields. It's all the way from oil maps to, the drawings and the system drawings, PNIDs, PFDs, everything. So what they have embarked upon is, it's a 5-year, multi-million-dollar program wherein they have embarked upon complete digitization and usage of artificial intelligence to kind of, anybody globally can pick up the data and comprehend the data, the past and the present, and get to know how to run their fields productively, and also how to sweat more assets from them. So this is one example. Likewise, there is M-Care. Energy management is another big thing. There is a company in the world which has, a global major. There are 83 facilities that they own. And they found that out of them, 39 facilities are big and important, rest are small, and the energy efficiency was a key driver. So what they did was that, again, this is a good example of asset information management and then finally digitization to get to asset integrity and reliability. Let me explain. They embarked upon a 1-year program wherein we helped them do that. It was 3 parts. It was it was consulting, it was engineering and digitization. What did we do in the consulting piece? We actually went to 14 different countries, to these 39 plants, looked at their energy metering monitoring system, and these are some ideas that you can take home. EEMMS system, we looked at, we call it wages, water, air, gas, electricity, steam. So we looked at all of their utility systems, and it was not just a typical energy audit report, which you get a consultant to do and put it in your drawer and never open it. It was like a big program wherein people did the assessment, gave a report of the CapEx, OPEX expenditures they need to make in these facilities with an ROI, with a 35% plus minus percent cost estimation, which would lead to, say, $10 million of energy saving across a year. So that was the consulting piece. Then the engineering piece was actually implementing those projects. And then they said, then came the digital piece. Then they said, well, you know, we hired L&T, you came, you charged us $1 million for a year, went across all my plants, give me a nice report, and yes, I am implementing some projects. Yes, I have started delivering value, but I will see in 5 years whether all that you claimed happened. Tell me how I can monitor my facilities every year without you and still get the same report out to get my own organization into it and start driving the change. And you spoke about that change. So what we have done is we have written a digital wages tool for them, which actually, and for that you have to actually go to each and every equipment in the plant and see to it that they are at the right level of control automation. So we have actually, it online monitors all the 5 utility systems in a facility, all 39 facilities, and it picks up the data on an online basis, monitors, manages, and dashboards it. So these are, on the energy side, don't think small, you know, a utility energy audit, and then some changes and improvements day by day. Think big, because then only the bigger returns will happen. Okay, I will skip this. Augmented reality. One of the biggest challenges in the industry is operator training and management. And India is no more a low-cost labor country, you know. Today, we do have a challenge of labor workforce and their training, and because most of the productivity leakages happen because the workforce at the facilities is not trained. Now, this is an example of AR, VR. How information and digitization together can improve your productivity. So this is an application which we've done for oil and gas. You know, you just have to pick up your cell phone, go to the any equipment in the plant. In this case, I've given an illustration of a valve. So you take your cell phone, immediately that valve will pop up as this yellow 3D model in your cell phone. Then you can explode it, you know, and you can actually go through the operations and maintenance sequence, dismantling sequence and commissioning sequence. You click, you can get all the BOQ, the specification, and also the owner operations and maintenance manual, everything. So likewise, one can actually, with the help of augmented reality, can actually digitize every equipment, small or large size, in a plant and get benefits in terms of better trained workforce, improved productivity, etc. Okay, last 3 slides. I hope I have a minute, or I have crossed. Okay, just a minute. Okay, last 3 slides. So this is an example of integrated asset management for our oil and gas major. We started working with them around 16 years ago. And this is real. This is not, the future or a theory. I'm talking about Shell. 2001, we started working with them. Today, completely, their upstream, downstream, and midstream business is totally asset, working on the principles of asset integrity and reliability. They embarked upon this journey after the implementation of SAP, and all the assets that you see are totally wired, and sitting in India remotely, we are managing their assets. And earlier it was a lot of functional engineering, that is bringing in, putting in data together, data integrity, putting PNIDs into the system so that they can be read digitally. But today it is sitting remotely and doing the maintenance and management of the assets, even all the way to training of the people in, a Shell refinery in Nigeria or somewhere else. So this is the approach. And today, they realized that while this was started for the upstream business, but then they realized that how the downstream business becomes so important when the oil and gas prices went down, and how the assets in the downstream business were legacy, they needed a lot of help, and how information management could, now we are working with them to bring information management protocols to bring in reliability and integrity and efficiency to the downstream assets. So big program, global leaders who taught the world the fundas of asset reliability and integrity. The second example is Bayer Covestro. This is again, 1 minute. Yes. So this is an example, no, this is ExxonMobil. So this is an example where they have, and you can go to the public space, web space, and read about these large programs. They have embarked upon this multi-million-dollar 5-year program where, as I said, the whole of their oil fields shall be wired, asset integrity shall be ensured for reliable operations. And this is being done by a lot of AI intervention. Last one is again a chemical major. I did want to leave the crowd with a chemical or a petrochemical example. We always thought that oil and gas upstream, midstream was the world which will go asset information management route because they were asset intensive and all of that. But today the chemical and, let me also share the FMCG industry is going this way, because they may not be asset intensive vertically, but they are all over the world, 500 facilities, 300 facilities, and nobody talks to each other. So, these are some of the examples, and I know there isn't time for questions, but my email ID and phone number shall be somewhere with the management. Please feel free to, contact me for any questions. Thank you.